we'll get going and get you guys off here in a timely manner. I'm going to start off sharing my screen. We're going to automatically click on over and kind of start reviewing the portfolio assignment. The semester's coming to an end, so if you'll bear with me here just a moment. I'm going to. Okay. Everybody see my screen? I've pulled up kind of the guidelines on the portfolio. Thought we'd kind of go down through here and review those, make sure everybody understands kind of what we're looking for and see if anybody has any questions. So probably the easiest way to do this, guys, is utilizing the portfolio template that's on Blackboard. Hopefully you guys will be able to locate that, but if not, I'll flip over here in a minute and kind of take you to it and show you. It's a very easy template to use. So looking for a few things here. The first thing you're going to do is create the introduction to the portfolio. And it's very simple. You're basically just giving literally what it is, a brief introduction to the portfolio, what all it contains, and really doesn't need to be any more than 5 to 8 sentences. Okay. It's just really just kind of just a quick overview of what is going to be within the portfolio. Then the next thing you're going to do is upload your lesson plans. And so we're going to be looking for 3. Now, to avoid any confusion here, this always comes up. So I'm going to go ahead and point this out. Literally in the portfolio, guys, the only thing you need to upload here for this is the actual lesson plan template that's provided. You do not need to upload your report, your informal assessment report with it. You don't need to upload the norm reference assessment report or the CBM, strictly the lesson plan. So don't create a lot of extra work that you don't really need to do on that as far as uploading, okay? Everybody's able to find the lesson plan templates. Everybody feel good about that and was able to locate them. Literally, if you go down through there and fill in all the information on the prompts that have been provided for you, you're going to be just fine on that. So if you'll look, intro was 4 points. Each lesson plan is worth 4. Okay. The next thing we're going to get into is where a bulk of the points are for the portfolio assignment. And that's literally going in and creating your mock IEP. As I mentioned earlier in the semester, as we briefly talked about it, and I'm gonna kind of refresh your memory just a little bit here, remind you, probably the easiest way to meet all the items within the video that we're going to be looking for is to create you a little cheat sheet or a little outline to kind of put in front of you when you're making that video. Just kind of follow that. So the first thing you're going to want to do is do an introduction to your meeting. And that's literally as if you were introducing the IEP team members. We all know they're not going to be there, but you just kind of go through and pretend that they're going to be there. So it could be you, building level principal, the psychometrist, school psychologist, regular classroom teacher, who would normally be part of that team. Literally just go around and introduce them. Okay, you want to introduce them and make sure that you identify them. Then you're going to briefly state the purpose of the IEP meeting. And literally that's simply just that you're going to present data from a series of assessments that you completed. And you'll want to mention those, an informal series of informal assessments, data from a norm reference, and then also a series of screenings utilizing CBM assessments. And just kind of give a brief explanation of why you chose to use those. Next thing you want to do is make sure you discuss and present levels of performance and progress that you noticed over time working with that student. And then you're going to want to break down and explicitly explain the performance on each assessment. So after you kind of get the brief overview, you'll want to go right back up to the informal and then start really giving some specific data on that process from the informal, and then roll right into your norm reference and then to your CBM. Where we get into presenting evidence of student performance in the format of tables, graphs, and charts. You literally did that within each one of your reports that you submitted, okay? But to do this on the IEP video, there's two ways you can do this. You can record yourself making the mock IEP video on Zoom, and then you can do a screen share and pop up those videos as part of your presentation, just like I'm doing a screen share now with this document here. You could have that those charts pulled up on your desktop and just simply do a screen share. That's one way to do it. If you feel a little bit uncomfortable with that, not sure how to maybe navigate around and do the screen share, literally you can, another way to meet that part of the assignment is you can literally have the chart here, just like I'm holding it up, and you can point to and point out specific things as you're explaining it, just as I'm holding it now, as if you're holding it up and showing it to the team members and that parent. Either way is fine. Either way is acceptable on that. Which one you feel comfortable with will work as far as which method that you want to present it. But literally, you're using the same tables and charts right out of your report, okay? You're not having to go and create any new charts or graphs. It's simply the ones you've already presented in your assessment reports. It's already been submitted, okay? You'll want to roll on down. Make sure that you discuss 3 student strengths and 3 student weaknesses in that IEP meeting when you're talking to the team members. Student strengths can be something as simply as little Susie is a very hard worker. She aims to please her teachers, and then another, positive comment, and then the three things that she needs to improve on, or that he needs to improve on, whoever your student was, that you identified by giving the assessments, whether it's multiplication, reading fluency, reading comprehension, whatever it may be. That's where you'll point out and bring up the student's weaknesses. The next thing you'll want to present within that IEP video, you want to create 2 short-term SMART goals. And when I say short-term, those are usually anywhere from 9 weeks to a semester. And then you'll want to create 2 long-term SMART goals. And literally, the long-term is simply 2 goals you want to create from the meeting that you are presenting, the mock IEP, until that annual review comes up a year later down the road. So 2 goals that you'll work on in the long term over the course of the year. One of the last things as you're kind of starting to end the meeting is talk about your expectations on how the parent or family members, the guardian, whoever's responsible for that child that you worked with, how they can support and work with you and the team to accomplish those goals that you set forth, whether it's simply suggestion that they sit down and do 15 to 20 minutes of one-on-one reading 5 nights a week, or working on math facts, skills, whatever it may be. That's where you'll just kind of bring up and said, some things you can do at home for little Johnny is to help support what we're doing here at school and help tie the 2 together, that parent school relationship and partnership. And then you would want to conclude by going back and giving them the opportunity to asking questions over the information that you presented. So make sure you just provide just a brief segment there at the end and ask them if they have any questions that they would like to ask over any of the information that you submitted. So usually what we're looking for on this is anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes is usually what the video will run. And if you pretty much will lay these items here out in a little outline in front of you and just kind of follow that, you'll hit every one of them and you'll do just fine. Okay. Presentation skills. Some things that we're looking at here and that I always look at, again, I just mentioned, and you can do this in your conclusion, is encouraging questions or input from the team members, providing that opportunity. The main thing here on presenting information in a clear, easy to understand manner, making sure that you're flowing, that that you're prepared, you've got the information. After all, you pretty much are the ones that administered the test, so you are the one that's immersed in the data. You know it, and that you're confident presenting it. You've all probably been to an IEP meeting, and there's nothing worse than going in there and sitting down, and the teacher comes in and they're thumbing around and they're not organized, and that sends a message right off the bat that those parents, they're probably automatically thinking, oh my gosh, this individual is working with my child, and if they're displaying this type of behavior just for this meeting, knowing that we're already coming in, what are they like on a daily basis? So it's just looking for that flow, and being able to express the results. A lot of times we always have one of the main reasons that we always have you do these charts and graphs is that we can go in and present a lot of data and talk terminology. A lot of times it just goes right over that parent's head when we're just spewing out data. That when you can take that and then present those charts or a table or graph, and they see it presented to them that way, a lot of times it's easier for them to comprehend. And so that's another reason why we incorporated the charts, tables, and graphs into those assignments. So again, it's just making sure that you're confident and that you flow through those items when you present that. Then the one last item after you do the video, and it's part of it, is you will add a conclusion section into that IEP, or I'm sorry, into the portfolio. So we've got the introduction, your 3 lesson plans, the mock IEP video, and then you'll put a conclusion section in that portfolio, much like the introduction, 5 to 8 sentences. It doesn't have to be anything that's long, lengthy, and elaborate. You're just kind of concluding and summarizing everything that was put into that portfolio and wrapping it up. So a lot of times when we talk about, we mention portfolio, a lot of times we hear the word portfolio and kind of get excited, nervous, thinking it's really long, lengthy, and elaborate. Really, this is a condensed, shortened portfolio. So it's not really anything that's going to be extensive, other than probably the challenging part, or the part that's weighted the most, as you know, is the video. And to me, the easiest way for you to do that is use your Zoom and record yourself. But if you have another platform that you prefer, that's perfectly fine. One thing that I will tell you sometimes to avoid some frustration, because it comes up every semester, is depending on the browser that you use, if you use Internet Explorer or Firefox as your browser, and you go to upload that video into Blackboard, a lot of times it will I call hang up, freeze, and it just sits there and spins. Don't see that so much if you use Google Chrome. So just something for you to kind of look at, watch for. If you have trouble getting that to upload into Blackboard as part of that portfolio, just email me, let me know. I have had to have students just send it to me as a link and email it, and I review their video that way, and then go back and add it into their portfolio score. So if you have trouble uploading it, don't panic. It's not the end of the world. There's other ways you can get that to me if you have trouble getting it to upload. So kind of went over that quickly. Is everybody feeling comfortable and confident with the portfolio? Is there anything I can answer some questions for you?
Dr. Posey, this is John Zeller. I have a question for you.
Yeah, John.
I came in a few minutes late, so sorry if I have you repeat yourself.
Okay, no problem.
So with the camera angle on our recording, that can be on us the entire time, right?
Yes. Yeah, it does. Especially because you're pretty much going to be, whether it's at your kitchen table, your home office, wherever. Yeah, it's on you. And you're just, when you do the introduction, John, you just want to go around as if the IEP team is with you and make sure you introduce them. To my
Okay.
left, I have, Johnny Joe's classroom teacher, Mr. So-and-so, and then kind of going around the room, the school psychometrist, the building level principal, and just kind of do a brief introduction and just roll right into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on our lesson plans, it says assess student learning. Is that like the exit ticket?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when we submit everything, that's all on like one Word document. Is that correct?
On what now? I'm sorry. Can you
So
repeat that?
when we submit this portfolio, we'd have all 3 lesson plans, kind of our notes and outlines, or I'm sorry, just all 3 lesson plans and our link on there, wouldn't we?
Yeah, but you're also going to have the introduction section that you're going to create at the beginning of that portfolio, and it's like 5 to 8 sentences. So
Okay.
you might have got on right after I'd talked about the introduction.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so you're going to create the introduction, and it's 5 to 8 sentences, just kind of giving a brief introduction of the contents of the portfolio. Then you'll have your 3 lesson plans, then your video, and then you're going to create the conclusion section, much like the introduction, 5 to 8 sentences concluding the portfolio.
Okay, that clears it up. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. You bet. Anyone else have any questions I could answer for you?
With the portfolio, is there a place to upload it for the assignments, or do you just have access to that?
I have access to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you go in there and create your portfolio, it's going to have a tab at the end where you can share it with me, and it'll send me a notification.
Oh, okay.
That's what it does. Okay. And another thing I'm going to kind of add to that, they changed the requirements, and I went over this at the beginning of the semester, but I'm going to go back and kind of review it quickly for students coming into the program, to where you're going to have to create a portfolio for your overall program. Okay. So you want to make sure that I would strongly encourage you to make sure you're downloading or storing these documents that you're using, and even the video, on like a flash drive. So when it comes up time to put all that in your graduate portfolio, you will have that. Because sometimes these courses will lock after the semester ends, and I've had to go back and unlock them so students could retrieve some information, which I'm accessible to do that, but it sure is handy if you'll save that on a flash drive and in all your classes, not just mine, but in all of them, because you're going to need those to do your graduate portfolio.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
That graduate portfolio you're talking about, is that what we started and added to earlier on this semester?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
There's a whole separate tab on Blackboard for that.
Through this course, or just in Blackboard in general?
In Blackboard in general. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna hang on just a minute if you'll I think I thought I had Blackboard. Bear with me just a minute here. Okay, can everybody see my screen on this is on the instructor side of it in Blackboard. So if you look over here on your left, you're going to see it says this stands for comprehensive portfolio. Does everybody see my cursor over here on the left hand side? That's the one I'm referring to, that you're going to have to basically build and add a lot of documents to for your graduate portfolio. And then for this class that I've referred to, the portfolio template for 805 for this particular assignment is right here where it says create portfolios here. It's right below your submit assignments tab. That's the one for this class. Okay, does everybody understand that? Everybody clear on that? Just so it doesn't confuse you. But this one here was added basically this summer, because that's when everything's kicking in for graduate students. now as part of the program. And so Fort Hays went back and added this tab. Okay. So you don't get the two confused. So as you go through your courses, I would also, as I mentioned, store those documents on flash drive just so you've got them as well. Any additional questions that I could help you guys with?
So it's supposed to, it says it's supposed to say comprehensive portfolio or comp portfolio on,
Yeah.
like when this first loads up, is that correct?
No, not on the one for this assignment. I'm just talking about the one for your graduate program.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna say I don't see that on here. When I go
Okay.
into our class, I see it, but I don't see it for the
No, it's,
grad.
yeah, you'll see it for the class. It's on this
Right.
tab. Yeah. And then the one for
Okay.
the class is down here, create portfolios, is for this class, this assignment.
Okay, so well that should be there for every class then.
It should be. Yeah, it should
Okay.
be. Definitely.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Would you mind touching briefly on the lesson plans? I know there's a
Sure.
template, but
Yeah,
I
you bet.
I
Let
know
me-
most people are probably very familiar with doing those, but
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not.
no problem. Bear with me just a minute here. So the one that we have, just a minute. Yeah. So this is the basic template on there. So you'll literally go in here. Can everybody see my screen? I'm gonna ask where I'm going. I just kind of assume they can, so I'm gonna make sure. So literally, you just go in here and you'll type your name, the date, the course. This is SPED 805. Okay. Content area. What content area for? Let's say this is informal. This is the informal lesson. Okay. So what was your content area? Whoever asked me the question, I don't see everybody.
This
Okay.
is Tara. It was
Okay.
for me.
I
Okay.
don't see the template.
Okay. Can everybody see it? No? Okay, hang on just a minute. Bear with me here. Let me switch around. Sorry. Okay, I think this will do it. Can everybody see it now? Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Just had to get out of that screen. Okay, so this is your basic template. So you're going to literally put your name, the date, which you can use any date this week, or since it's finals week. Course SPED 805, content area that you did. This, we'll just say this is informal. Is reading, what was the grade level, and then the Common Core standards, objectives, key vocabulary, word terms that you wanted to make sure in this lesson that were covered in reading. So whatever the informal lesson was, or the lesson plan you're creating, you can put some key words and terms. Background knowledge needed. Some background knowledge that the student needs to know perhaps before this lesson or concept is presented. And so literally you would just go on there and you would start typing it in. Okay, and then you would drop down to item D, or I'm sorry, E. Any materials and equipment needed for the particular lesson that you're going to teach or would teach. Okay, so if there's certain materials or supplies or equipment, you would list all that right there. Okay, next thing, technology needed to present lesson. Okay, so do they need this student Chromebook, or do you need smart board, overhead projector? Is there anything specific that you're going to need in order to teach this lesson in the room? Okay, so you just list that. Then we're getting down on the instruction part. Introduction. So here you would type out your introduction, how you would introduce the lesson. So you can do it in paragraph form, as far as how you would go to introduce that lesson and that concept. And then the actual lesson, you would give an explanation of the lesson. So you're going to type out exactly what the lesson's going to be. You're going to explain to us what it's gonna be. So if I was a substitute teacher coming into your room and I was gonna pick up and do this lesson, I would be able to look at this lesson plan and tell exactly what you were gonna teach. Okay? Then the wrap up, you would kind of type up how you would wrap up the lesson and tie in previous knowledge or background knowledge into what you taught today and how they could utilize that and how that would build on the next lesson or the next concept you're going to teach. The next item here, you would list or explain any accommodations or modifications or any type of enrichments that you felt like would need to be done. And their assignment, is it going to be a shortened assignment? Extended time, shortened as far as the length expectations that they're going to be expected to complete compared to regular ed students. And then down here, you're going to give an explanation as far as assessing the student learning. Now, after you taught the lesson, we were assuming they've had time to practice on it. You're going to go back down here and give a somewhat of a detailed explanation about how you would go back and assess that student to determine if they fully grasp the concept, new skills that you introduced in that lesson that was taught. Let's say you're going to come in tomorrow morning, first thing, and just do some type of informal assessment to see how well they grasp that skill that you taught the day before, and just kind of briefly explain that right there. I mean, if you just follow that and provide that information in there, you'll be fine. It's literally just take it under the premise that you're creating that, and I'm going to come in and be your substitute teacher. And so I should be able to look at that and be able to tell pretty much exactly what you're going to do.
I have a quick question.
Okay? Yeah.
Do we need to upload any, like, say we're using a graphic organizer as part of the lesson, would that need to be uploaded as an artifact or no?
It's not necessary. You certainly can if you want to, but it's not required that you do that. You could you can mention that as far as materials and equipment needed. You're talking about a student will need graphic organizer and give an explanation on that. If you want to upload that as well or attach it, you're welcome to, but it's not required. Okay. Any other questions? Everybody's quiet. Hear crickets. Everybody's like, I want to get this over with.
Yeah, we're tired.
I understand.
And I know you're tired.
A long, grueling summer, but yeah. Really, I think once you get the lesson plan, once you kind of get started on that, it's not going to be too much of a headache for you. And just really kind of focusing on your video. And again, if you'll create a kind of an outline to kind of put there in front of you, you can kind of glance down and making sure you're hitting all those steps. You'll be fine. You really will. You're gonna be just fine. Just remember on the graphs, as I mentioned, you can do the screen share if you feel comfortable doing that to show the graphs. And if you don't, again, just hold it up and refer to it. Either way works. So. Anything else I could answer for you? No, I've got most of your CBM reports graded. I tried to get on those as they were coming in. I still have some. I'll try to get those finished up this evening and get them back to you. So, and then the portfolios, as those start coming in, I'll get in there and start reviewing those and get them back to you versus waiting to the end, because I've got to have those grades submitted. It takes a while to review those videos. So as they start rolling in, I'll start reviewing them. Okay. I'll go in and post this recording too as well. And if you think of any other additional questions you need to ask me, you can shoot me an email and I'll get back to you and provide you the answer or the guidance that you need. Okay. Everybody feel good? Everybody comfortable with it? Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Good luck. I've enjoyed having you and hope all goes well and you can enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one. Good night.